got a request in. They wanted us to solve leasing issues. So since the goal here while we're traveling is to increase occupancy and to go over different types of things to show you guys some different strategies for property solutions. One of the things we wanted to go over is let's go ahead and fix you guys' leasing problems tonight. So if we're going to be doing a live video, let's go over some leasing items. So before we get in here, we're not going to get started till we get a few guys in here. So go ahead and like, share. We'll start here pretty soon. One of the first questions we got here is where are we getting our leads from? So that's what we're going to start over tonight. We're going to start there. Where are we getting our leads from and how we're going to solve your leasing problems tonight. So, all right. So we got a question in here. Where are you getting your leads from? And that's pretty easy. It depends. If you're in this field, we all know that we're kind of the goal is for occupancy. So one of the questions we got was where we getting our leads. You can do TikTok, and I know this is YouTube. My one of the things in the platforms that I utilize is YouTube, but you can use TikTok. You can do an influence page. Another go-to that I use for a lot of my leads is Facebook. So I do utilize Facebook for some of my leads. Um, Digital campaigns are pretty cool. You can do Google ads. You can target your ads. Some of the people that target ads here in Nashville, this is just hey, it's a dog eat dog world out here. If you see inside of the news complex that there's a complex or a property that has some issues or being closed down, there maybe have some bad press. You can target your marketing campaign to those individuals if that population matches what you're looking for. Especially like if you in a senior property and some of the properties in your local area has had some concerns or some issues, you can do a targeted campaign to those senior properties, send it through mail, direct mailers, and that'll help you guys. So like I said, we're gonna fix you guys' leasing problems tonight. Other things, what do you guys feel about um, door knocking, getting on the ground, getting out there? That's one of the things we do is I'm a big believer in getting out into the community. Yes, we do have digital marketing. That's how we're going to solve your leasing problems today. Um, but however, getting onto the ground, get inside of your community. Hey, how you guys doing? How's Australia? Pretty cool. But we're going to solve you guys' leasing problems tonight. Getting on the ground is pretty cool. The reason why I say that is digital marketing. As we mentioned, you can target individual properties that have had some bad publicity. For instance, if you at a senior property, if you've noticed in the news that that property is having some issues, maybe some issues with water issues or power or residents are not happy, you can target your marketing to where you can do direct mailers to that type of property. Australia and Japan. Remember, guys, go in there. If you guys can help me get to 650 subscribers, I think we're around 618. Um, Subscribe to it. We're going to go over how we're going to fix your leasing problems. Not drink champs, but we are drinking water tonight. So, as I mentioned before, that's one of the things you can do to increase your leasing and with your direct mailers. But let's talk about getting out there. Um, the reason why I particularly like getting out there, I do like my digital marketing, is inside of my properties, I like to see the type of community that's around the properties that I'm in. I want to see the makeup of the community, how the community sees my property, what type of reviews the community kind of sees the property. And a lot of times the community is going to refer and send really good people your way. So that's the reason why I particularly like still getting out there and actually going and door knocking, getting out flyers and actually getting out there too. So I still do digital marketing, but that's one of the things we like doing too. Another thing you can do for leasing, if you have a really good, and this is for a lot of my regional managers that have or multi-site properties. If you have properties that are similar and one property is doing well and they have a similar makeup of individuals, Call that property manager. Ask them to send referrals back to the property that is struggling. So if you have a property that is actually doing well enough to where they may have a wait list, and you also have a property that is struggling, connect those two properties together and send and refer some of the individuals over there. Where else do you guys leave a comment here? Where are you guys getting your leads from as far as leasing? Zillow versus Facebook. Where are you guys getting your leads? When you're looking for leasing, when you're looking for good qualified tenants, where are you getting your leads from? Is it strictly all online? Is it all digital marketing? Where are you guys getting your leasing? Facebook Marketplace is pretty cool. Typically, I would do a Facebook. You got to be careful sometimes with Facebook Marketplace. You also have to remember this is one thing I tell people about Facebook Marketplace. Not only does your company have to be involved in the groups, but you have to be involved in the groups that's going to target the individuals that are actually going to see your page. So if you're not in groups to where individuals actually see your page, it's not going to do you any good. Facebook Marketplace does work, but you got to realize it's a lot of go inside of these Facebook groups. It's a lot of scams in the group, so they know the criteria. One of the things we saw too is, and it's so we're looking at too on our websites this week with security matters. We're looking at taking down vacant unit numbers, and we're taking down our vacant numbers from our websites because people are using that to know that the units are vacant and they're breaking in based on that. So they're going on the websites, yeah, and they're seeing the vacant units, and they're breaking into the units based on the vacant units. So sometimes with Facebook, you got to be careful. Where else are you guys seeing and getting your leads from? So, what are you guys' leasing goals for this year? Have you noticed a difference depending on where you are? Are you dropping your leasing goals? Drop your occupancy in the comments. Are you at 100%? Have you adjusted this year? Why break into vacant containers? These are typically not vacant containers. These are typically vacant apartment units, or it doesn't necessarily have to be apartments. This is going to be vacant homes, and you're right. Why break into them? Typically, we're seeing a lot of homeless individuals that are breaking into the units, or individuals that are breaking into them doing drugs, and then they're leaving. So they're kind of trashing the apartments. So what they're doing is they're using the websites to see the apartment numbers, because typically it's one of the things in our industry as apartment owners, we want to give out as much information about our properties as possible to potential tenants. So typically we would list different things. Alex, we do see you. Hi, Alex. So that's one of the things we're kind of looking at too is, and this is not across the board, but if you're seeing that individuals breaking in and using your vacant units. What other lease up ideas are you doing? What type of marketing events are you guys doing in your community? Are you have you guys heard of preferred partners? Preferred partners. Preferred partners is we may have a preferred business partner, or just say if you have a company or factory, a school in the area, a hospital, you can partner with them as an apartment complex. Partner with them, send the specials out when you have resident events over there. Send different information, ideas, or different things that you can kind of work with them and kind of partner with them. Buying properties, that's a separate issue, separate channel. I do own property, but that's a different. That's kind of what. That's not what we're doing on this channel. So we kind of want to go over your leasing specials. So I'm noticing a huge thing now on everybody's running the leasing special, which is good. But you got to realize, as a owner, when you're running a special, that is cutting into your profit. Every month that you're losing rent, that is a huge. Every month of concession, you're losing. So If your property is clean on the exterior, if your property is well maintained, if you have a good social media presence, if you have taken care of your residents, and you should not have any issues in where you should be, and if you've hired a good property manager, you should not need to make any rent concession. I don't care what neighborhood it's in. It could be in the worst neighborhood. You can do it. One of the persons asked, if you get somebody, what's the pros of somebody paying up front for a whole year? It sounds good. I've been in a few properties to where individuals have made made your life a living hell, depending on, hopefully YouTube doesn't do anything on that. But if you have an individual that's willing to pay up front for a whole year, you've got to ask yourself, what type of arrangement are you getting yourself into? You may not be able to evict this tenant, and that tenant could cause you a lot of headaches going forward. So it could be a very big con to allow someone to pay up front. I personally wouldn't allow somebody to pay up front for a whole year. I don't care what the amount is, because more than likely that person's going to cause you problems. Um, but I don't necessarily, that would be up to you if you decide to go down that road. Some people that I know have not had any issues. So if you're in a certain area of town, if you know that person maybe, or if you've done your due diligence, you've done your correct checks, hey, go for it. So as far as we mentioned before, solving your leasing. First thing I do with leasing, anytime you have leasing, the main thing is that I've seen is, most of the time, it's communication. If you have good communication, if you have a good social media presence, if you're in constant contact with an applicant, you shouldn't have any issues with leasing your apartment or your rental property. There's a lot of people that are looking for it, and I'll be honest with you. Whenever there is a drop in the rates and the individuals are allowed to, and I would say the market for housing increases, a lot of our people in our multifamily properties are going to be, these are the same individuals that are going to be purchasing houses more than likely in the next 1 to 2 years. So if we think there's an issue with occupancy now in whatever apartment complex, affordable, conventional, that you may have, if you think there's an issue now with renting apartments and occupancy, it's going to be a little more, it's going to be slightly difficult coming up in the next couple of years, to where once rates are lowered, you're going to see more individuals purchasing houses that are not going to be our renters anymore. So they're going to buy houses, which is great. I'm a fan of home ownership, but if you have rental apartments, or if you are a property owner that have single family homes for rent, you could turn that into something. However, a lot of us in the multifamily apartments for rent, we're going to see a slight, and I'm not saying it's not going to be a bad thing. It's just going to be more competition. So as the rates lower, we're going to have a lot of our individuals that normally would rent for us. They're going to elect to go ahead and purchase a house. I believe in the next 1 to 3 years, they're going to purchase that. So we're going to have to be a little more creative as far as renting apartments. I'm not saying we're going to get more creative as far as making more concessions, because prices are still going up. Vendor costs are still going up each and every day. Insurance premiums are going up. So we're not necessarily saying we're going to change anything as far as rent concessions, but we're just going to be a little ahead of the industry. How do you guys go about your application process? Paper applications, online? What systems are you using? Yardi, talk to me about Yardi. What systems are you guys using as we go over leasing strategies? How are you guys keeping up with your contact on your leasing? How are you guys keeping up with your prospects and your applicants? What are you guys doing to differentiate the multiple emails and spam calls each and every day that people are receiving? What are you doing with each and every day? If you're in a progressive city, most of the time you're going to have a lot of competition with housing. So what are you guys doing to stand out? Um, so that's one of the things we just kind of want to make sure we go over with you all and just make sure we kind of help you with your leasing. Don't want to leave you guys out there kind of hanging out. So, as I mentioned before, typically with me, it's a lot of times communication. If you are in constant communication with that individual, whether that is, we do have compliance departments, and if your compliance department is causing you a holdup in your application process, that is fine. But you need to communicate that with the applicant. And most of the time, people understand that. However, if you're not in communication, they're hearing from you last week and then it's been 7 days, 10 days, and they don't hear from you again, people are going to get very frustrated and they're going to walk away from that. So if your communication is not consistent with your applicants, they're going to walk away. If they didn't hear from you 3 days and then you've went off and it's been another week and then all of a sudden you request another documentation, they're going to walk away from that. Remote property management. I do not do remote property management. Leave a comment if that's what you do. I think it would be pretty cool. I am a big fan of automated maintenance. We're going to do another live video session on automated maintenance requests, especially for my smaller landlords that do not have the time or the capacity to locate reputable vendors. They do not have the time or the capacity to handle payments, to make all of that. They don't want to deal with that, or they don't have a good property manager. So we're going to do another video on um, automating our maintenance requests, and then leave a comment too about some of the issues that you guys are seeing with the maintenance teams. Um, can I? Do we have our own maintenance crews tackling pressure washing? No. Pressure washing, if you're looking at pressure washing, that's another thing with leasing. Let's go over that. Your leasing strategies have to include, and this is multifamily, single family property owners, my smaller landlords. Make sure your curb appeal is on point. That's your property. That's your parking lot. Make sure it's striped. Make sure your breezeways are cleared. Pressure washing, I do not recommend if you've got a large property having your maintenance team do it. I would recommend sending a vendor out because it's going to take a very long time, and that's time away from your maintenance team that they could be utilizing that to make sure your residents are happy with good maintenance requests. You got to think everything has to operate as a well-oiled machine or a really good system. If it if it's a really good system, then you're gonna increase your leasing and your occupancy because you're gonna have a good reputation. You more than likely you may not even have units available. So all of this works in conjunction with each other. You have a good maintenance team, you have a good department, a good leasing department. You communicate effectively, you have a good compliance team, everyone works in conjunction. So you're gonna make sure your leasing strategies work. Maintenance techs, grounds, there's a huge difference in those. I'm not going to get into that. You can decide, but there's going to be a big difference between a maintenance tech. A maintenance tech is going to be certified to perform repairs. A groundskeeper is not necessarily performing repairs. They're handling the grounds. They're handling taking care of the trash and cleaning up, making sure your facility looks nice. So maintenance and grounds are two different things. I've seen companies try to intermingle the two. It doesn't necessarily work out because somebody's going to feel underpaid, or it's going to lead to somebody being underqualified. You don't want an individual that's supposedly just doing grounds handling your electrical repairs too. That's a safety. Leasing, make sure your application process is very well easy to understand. I would suggest utilizing a software. I'm not going to suggest one here right now. I have some that I utilize or that my company utilizes. It does need to be you want to have different options. You know your city, you know your people. You want to have different options. It's a much easier if it's in a piece of software. We're now integrating AI into it. It's a lot easier. You don't even have to upload much. What other questions on leasing do you guys have? As I mentioned before, you want to have that good community with leasing. Another thing, another strategy, what I do, and this is part of building that community with leasing. All of us as leasing agents, each and every day in our property, one of the things we see is we see employees, delivery drivers, caseworkers. We see a lot of individuals, vendors that come to our property. It's not a bad idea to make friends or get a conversation going and get business cards of each and every person that comes out. These individuals are going to be your network to where you're going to build, add in an old school, create basically a contact list to where each day, each week, you're going to send that contact list out. And that's going to be a lot of your leads to where you're going to have that good reputation. The delivery driver that normally does Uber, makes deliveries, drops individuals off. They see the reviews, they understand they see the lighting in the parking lot and the security there. So they're like, hey, it's time for me to renew my lease somewhere else. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to transfer to your apartment. Yeah. Busy Slim, go ahead and email me. Um, Reach out to me, or you can email me, um, Company at gmail.com. Lorel Company, Lorrell Company at gmail.com. Or you can reach out on here on Prep and Prosper. Yeah, that would be good. What else we got? Where are we advertising? We kind of went over that. Um, I believe in advertising everywhere. Whatever your budget allows. If you don't have a budget, some properties don't have marketing budget. Advertise wherever you need to. Lorel Company at gmail.com. I'll make sure we put it in the bio too. Lorrell Company at gmail.com. Do you list on your personal Facebook page? That's up to you. Some companies have a policy against that. So I'm not going to tell you to list on your personal Facebook page because some companies may say no, you can't do that. Also, you may not be comfortable doing that. You may have a different type of friends, and you do not want that traffic. But I will say, if you can, if you're part of those Facebook groups that you know about, some of us know about our local Facebook groups, and you're familiar with them. I do say it's a good idea. Craigslist, I don't know. I hadn't used Craigslist in years. I'm a little nervous still. I know Facebook is starting to be the new Craigslist, but no. No gas station bathrooms. Do not do that. Everywhere, that's what I do. Everywhere. How do we get more traffic on Facebook? Do we boost postings? The more you post on Facebook, that's why I said if it's your personal or business page, that's two different audiences. Um, we may have different friend groups, so the more you post, the more Facebook is going to recommend. If you post something, have a group of friends that can also share it. Let them know, like, hey, I'm about to post something. Get a group of 5 or 6 people in the office that also can share it once you post it, and you guys can build momentum that way. You say any of the marketing softwares that would be pretty good, but I'm still a fan of utilizing all of them. Any more questions? Um, I haven't started my own. We're still looking at. I plan to still take the home inspection, national home inspection exam. I want to say beginning of March, but I've got a vacation plan, so it'll probably be more end of March. So If you guys got any ideas or any helpful study tips, drop them in the comments. Let's see. What other leasing strategies have we not went over? Yeah, have a checklist. Make sure your checklist to where individuals know what's due or what your application process is makes it easier. If you can go ahead and have everything signed and taken care of in the first day, process, run your background checks, send all your verifications in, it will be a lot easier. Now, if you're dealing with a housing authority, that's different. Any of us that deals with housing authorities, or you're taking what's called HCV, housing choice vouchers, anything like that that's going to require an inspection from the housing authority. Again, you can get your application process going pretty well. That's and pretty quickly. I would suggest doing that. However, the 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 holdup is going to be it has to be inspected by the housing authority, depending on. And one of the things I found out here in the area I'm in, and this is different from where I just came from, is they're allowing this housing authority are allowing individuals to FaceTime inspection. So because of a shortage of inspectors, they're allowing the inspectors to do it through FaceTime. So that hopefully will speed up those type of inspections too. So I think that's pretty good. All right, guys, we're about to get ready to log off. I thought it was pretty cool that we able to help you guys with your leasing. Remember to like, comment, share. Hopefully, you guys can subscribe to the channel if you got anything, any other questions, solving your leasing strategies or leasing issues tonight. Our goal this week at the property we're at is we're going to increase our occupancy. We already had a move in today, so immediately went in there. And our goal is to make properties trend in a positive direction by the time we leave. So we don't have any more questions. I appreciate everybody that came in the comment section. I really thank you guys. Thank you guys. Busy Slim, please reach out to me. Everybody that checked in, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Make sure you tune in to Thursday. We're gonna go again. We're gonna go live Thursday night again. That's our typical time, 7 p.m. Got a good show for you guys. We're gonna also still push our videos on our inspection fail videos. Okay, Pete. Nice to meet you, Pete. Dion. Um, we will, like I said, the inspection videos. I plan on pushing out more inspection videos in short, so you guys know what to look for with your inspections or what could cause you to fail inspections too. So remember, prep and prosper. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have a good evening. Thank you.